to the studio. It's Froyle here. I'm so glad you've joined me. Today I'm going to give you a comprehensive guide of how to create the dissolved National Geographic pages, what to use, what not to use, and how to get the best results. Then we're going to create a fabulous collage in our 100 Days of Collage project. You're gonna love this. So I am sitting in an absolute mountain of dissolved National Geographic pages. Yay! And it's so exciting because they are so incredibly unique. They're so beautiful. The process is really simple. You just have to have the right solution to create this gorgeous, beautiful, unique, one-of-a-kind pattern that you get from the glorious photos in the National Geographic magazines. Now, I've been doing this process for a lot of years and I'm getting lots of questions. So I'm going to answer those questions and then we're going to make a fabulous collage out of one or some of these glorious papers. Now, the first question is, do I have to use Citrusol? This is the Citrusol. Yes, my bottle is empty. It is an 8 ounce or 236 ml. It's quite small. It's not huge, but it did make 3 magazines, which I will explain further. But yes, to answer the first question, you have to use Citrusol. Can you use anything else to create the same effect? Well, not that I have found. If you've found some other solution that will create this beautiful patterned effect on these pages, please let me know, because I haven't. I've tried numerous different citrus-based cleaning solutions. Nothing's worked, and it's just created huge frustration. Now, if you're in the US, it's really easy to get the Citrusol. Sometimes it's difficult depending on where you are. In New Zealand, you can't buy it from a store. I ordered this bottle on iherb.com and it cost me $21.64 for this bottle. Now, you might think that's expensive, especially when it's $19.60 for shipping. Flaming shipping to the bottom of the planet is really expensive. So the total was $41.24. But I created 3 magazines worth of beautiful, glorious papers like this, and like this, and like this. And let me tell you, I've spent way more than $40 buying textured, beautiful, handmade papers. So I don't think it's a huge amount. You do get a lot of bang for your buck. I mean, there's a lot of pages in those magazines and you get to create these beautiful, unique, one-of-a-kind papers that you're not going to be able to get any other way. So $40 will get you a whole mountain of papers. So if you want to create with the Citrusol, you have to buy the actual product. If you're in New Zealand, buy it online. It's going to cost you $40, including shipping, but it is well worth it. Now, this product is the closest that I've been able to get to the Citrusol. It is just straight D-limonene, or is it D-limonene? I don't actually know how it's pronounced, but that's the active ingredient in the Citrusol. I got this from a cleaning supplies and it's just that particular ingredient. Yes, it's flammable, it's poisonous, don't drink it. Safety instructions. Now, I use this to create some pages and it did work more successfully than any other product I've tried. That was these pages here. But it still didn't produce this kind of effect that the Citrusol produces. It was a lot less movement of the ink and not as many pages were successful. So again, I'm coming back to answer the first question. Is there any other product I can use? No. It's a resounding no. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your money on trying other products. If you want to create this texture, get the Citrusol, but small little bottle created a mountain of pages. The Citrusol does have a very strong scent. It is extreme orange. And it is a degreaser, although it does say for everyday cleaning, for tough stains and grease, but then there's a little disclaimer underneath skin and eye irritant, harmful if swallowed, combustible, yes. It's a chemical. Use a mask, use gloves. I find it really difficult to turn the pages of the magazine when I'm using gloves, so I didn't use gloves, but I would highly recommend using gloves and definitely a mask. So when I was making these pages, I put the Citrusolve into a spray bottle and I sprayed the pages. Now I like to do it this way because it's fast, and I like fast, I like easy. You can, however, brush on the Citrusolve, put it in a bowl, brush on the pages. That works as well. Sometimes, however, when I have used that way to put on the Citrusolve, I've been a little heavy-handed and it's saturated the pages and more of the ink pulls off. So I find the spray bottles far more effective for me. But definitely you want to be doing it outside or in a well-ventilated area, and you want to protect your hands and your face while you're doing it, because yes, you are using a very strong chemical. Now, the next question I get asked all the time is what date or what decade or what year is best to use of the National Geographic magazines. I used 2020 magazine and I used a 2021 magazine. They were both successful. These pages are from those two magazines. I do find that the marketing and that the fold outs and the extra bits in the magazines don't produce good results. I also found that in the 2021 magazine, the whole beginning section with all of the advertising and the big glossy pages, they didn't dissolve at all. So that was really interesting. Don't bother wasting your time. In fact, with the 2020 magazine, I started pulling it out from the back because they had dissolved better, faster, and they were just looking like they were done, which was fairly strange because you start spraying at the beginning of the book. So I don't know why the back had dissolved better, faster, but it did, and that was that. And that was the whole point yesterday. I was doing lots and lots of experiments because I love this technique and I wanted definitive answers to these questions. So don't waste your time in the front section or the lift outs or the advertising or the front cover or the back cover. Those areas don't dissolve and it's a waste of time and Citrusolve. That's the other thing. You've got to have a lot of space. It requires to spread out the magazine. You have to pull it all out of the magazine and you have to lay it out to dry. So once you spray it or brush it, I leave it for 20 minutes for it to dissolve and do its thing, and then I pull it out of the magazine, but you've got to spread those pages so they can dry. It takes a lot of space. And yes, that beautiful citrus aroma will fill your house. Not every page will be absolutely astounding, but when they are, oh man, they really are. Like you can't repeat them. You can't do the same again. They're incredible. They make amazing collage paper. And you'll be so happy that you've made the effort. You can also use stencils and wipe off some of the pattern with the Citrusolve after you've dissolved it. Or you can even take out sections that you don't want on the pages, because the solution will still wipe out that ink even after you've dissolved it. So if you've got a page like this and it's got someone's head and you don't want it, you could put a little of the Citrusolve on there and wipe that off, and that will be gone and you'll be able to use it for whatever you want. So the other question is copyright. I don't think copyright is a problem because we completely dissolve the page. Now, some people say I'm destroying the National Geographic pages. How could I? It's sacrilegious. But really, I don't see them as being destroyed. I see them as creating another artwork to add to my collages, and they're so unique in the way they're made that they make incredible, beautiful artworks. Here's some of the artworks that I've already made. I absolutely love them. They're one-of-a-kind pieces. I can never reproduce them again. I can never make the pages again. So really, I just think we're transitioning the National Geographic pages into something else. And you really can't tell by looking at that page what it is or where it's come from. So I don't think copyright would be an issue. Look how glorious these abstract patterns are created from these pages. Now, my other experiment was using a National Geographic from 1966 because I've been asked the question of what dates are the best, old ones or new ones. So I tried this magazine, and for a start, when you look at the magazine, the pictures aren't very big. They're not the full-scale pictures on a page that we see now in the modern magazines. They're not all glossy. The paper's kind of really old, and I'm just looking at this magazine going, yeah, I don't think this is going to work, but I wanted to try it because I was experimenting. It did not work. I used actual Citrusol. I didn't use any derivative, and I found that it didn't shift the ink off the page very well. In fact, it barely moved the ink. All the photos were still left looking the same, and it just made a big, soggy, stinking mess. So no. The answer to do the early magazines work better is no, they don't. I use 2020 and 2021 magazines. I'm really happy with the results. The pages are absolutely glorious. The older magazines just don't have the quality of the same photographic images, and the pages don't dissolve. So there you go. Yay! So glad I experimented yesterday. I learned so many absolute conclusive answers to the questions. You can only use Citrusol, use modern magazines. Don't try and find a substitute. And if you're in New Zealand, suck up the $40 and order it from iHerb. Yay! Now, I've been doing this technique for years, and I know that some countries you can't get the Citrusol at all, not even on the iHerb website. So if you go to this link, which is in the description under the video, you'll find it on a blog post. There's a link there to download free a digital collage, some papers that I have photographed of my National Geographic dissolved images. You are very welcome to go there and download them for yourself and use them in your collage, because I know it can be really hard to get the Citrusol, or you're not in a place where you can make such a stinking mess, even with all of the windows open. So just know, if you are sensitive to smells or to chemicals, this is probably not a technique that you're going to want to do. But you can go to my link. You can download a few of the pages. The pages are beautiful. It was one of the best batches that I did. Very happy with them. And they're yours for free, because I know this technique is fabulous and not everybody can do it. So let's jump into our collage and see what we're making today. This week, in our second week of 100 Days of Collage, we have the theme of bridges. Yay! So let's get connected and create something fabulous with our dissolved National Geographic pages. Right, now I have my fabulous images from Venice. Hello, city of bridges. We have to do something with these. These are my photos. I've printed them out onto paper. I have quite a few of them. The hard part is going to be deciding on which image to use and which of the beautiful National Geographic pages to use. Now, the colors vary depending on the photos that you're dissolving, and they can be quite beautiful in rich colors, or they can be quite neutral in the colors as well, like this one. They can be very patterned, like this one, which is fabulous, or they can be a little more subtle. The variety is huge, and that is what I love about these papers. They're just so unique. One of a kind, can't repeat it even if I tried. That's kind of a good color. That color could go well with this photo. It's got the same rich warm tones. Yes, we might do something with that. Or maybe something like this with a little bit more stronger shape with the texture. Or we could go into the blues. I've got a couple of these beautiful blue ones which look really nice too. Oh man, it's gonna be a tough decision. So I've decided on these two images from beautiful Venice of my lovely little bridges there, and that was the easy part. The hard part is going to be deciding on what's going to go with them. Now, they are rather large, and we don't want them to take up the entire page because we want to enhance them with our beautiful Nat Geo pages, so they're going to have to be trimmed. I know It's a little tough, but that's just how it's going to go. Yes, I'm liking that. I don't like the straight edge at the top, and I'm not sure what I'll put up there. But we always work it out as we get going along. Now I'm thinking with this one, I'm going to put it a little off center like that. Have a smaller piece of the Nat Geo there and a bigger piece there. Then we'll worry about this side once we get moving on this one. Now, what of these glorious pages will I put with it? I do love the warm tones of this one. I think these colors work really well. That could be a possibility. What about the one with the pink? That's really fun. Could use that section there. That would work on there. Yeah, I'm liking that. And maybe one of the other deeper ones for that side, or even one of these neutral ones. Although, what are we going to put over here? Because we could run the color over. Ooh, that's an idea. Let's have a little tear of our bridge of size. Oh yes, it was a glorious time with my son. And I'll be sighing all day. Right, if I use this one and put it there somewhere-ish. Now I might cover up more of these images yet. I'm just not sure where we're going to head. But what I'll do is stick these down, and then we'll make decisions as we get moving. That's what I find is the easiest. Just start. Because then you can make up your mind as you go along. You can change it if you don't like it. You can add stuff to it, paint over it. There's so many ways to fix things. So let's just get the two beautiful images down, and then we'll put our glorious dissolved papers with them. Yay! So that's a great start. I'm pretty happy with that. We've got our images down, and yes, I think I'll start with this beautiful piece with the pink tones to it and add it to this side. Now, because I am using matte medium, you are going to have to be careful with your freshly dissolved National Geographic pages, because the matte medium might shift the ink and you might not want it to do that. You can seal your pages with a spray varnish if you're worried. I'm just more likely to be more careful and not plaster the whole piece of paper with the matte medium. Now I've got baking paper underneath. Hooray, I got some more. And if you've seen a previous episode, you know what I'm talking about. I'm going to run that off the top there and just slightly onto the next page. You can just see a bit of a bull up there. So I ran it off the page because I'm going to trim that off. I didn't want a bull at the top of my beautiful Venice bridge. Sometimes the pages might crinkle if you've got too much matte medium on it, but don't worry about that. It is collage. A little bit of texture, it'll be all right. Right, so the question is, oops, I had a little oopsies there. I can fix that later. Do I want to keep the boat or not? There's my bridge. That's the question. I could put this piece of paper on there. Shall I cover the boat or shall I keep the boat? Oh man. Well, I'm thinking that the bridge is the focal point, right? That's our theme. So I could cover the boat, and this paper is a beautiful bluey color, which works well for the water. So what about if we tear it this shape and have a look and see? We might actually take the boat out. I know it looks cool. It does look cool, but you know, the bridge is our focus. So if I was to take the boat out and put this paper here, what that does is it completely highlights the focal point of the bridge. If I leave the little boat there, you see the boat first, then you see the bridge, right? Because that's in the forefront and it's kind of a bigger, fatter, wider shape than the bridge. So my thinking is, let's eliminate that with this beautiful paper. Oh my gosh. And then in the shape that I've torn it like that, it's going to lead your eye just to the bridge. That's what you're going to see. And I think that that's what we'll do because that's our focal point. So there you go. That's how I make these decisions depending on what it is you're trying to achieve. And today it's about the bridge. So even though the boat looks cool in our photo, we are just going to put this piece on there and highlight that fabulous, glorious little footbridge there in Venice. You always just need to think about what is the objective that you're trying to achieve, what do you want your viewer to notice, and create your focal point for that. Sometimes you have to make tough decisions by like taking out sections of an image that you might really like, but if it's not contributing to the purpose of what you're trying to create, then you just have to do it. Make the hard call, take it out, and keep going. So that's going to give a lot more strength to the focal point of our beautiful little bridge there. The color works well for the water, and that is a beautiful piece of paper. Right. Next decision. What are we going to do with the top? Because that's a tad boring. Now, I could put another one of the beautiful Nat Geo papers up there quite happily, but I'm thinking I'd rather something lighter and a different texture. So I've pulled out a piece from my box. It's one of my Taperology papers that I absolutely love, and I'm thinking that I could perhaps use this for the top. It would still show a little of the blue sky coming through, and I really like that idea. This is pretty much, I'm thinking, the Ogura lace. Anyway, it comes in the beautiful packets of papers in the variety packs. Absolutely love them. See, something like that would work, maybe a bit less of it like that. That could look really nice, and I might even add something else to these papers. I haven't quite decided. Where you start with your collage is not where it has to finish. Just because I've stuck these papers on doesn't mean it has to stay that way. I might add some stencils or some stamps or anything else to the page. Now, what I also like about this idea is this shape here along the line is mirroring this shape here. And I like that. It's kind of really focusing on our beautiful subject matter there, which is the glorious bridge. So that makes me happy. I'm going to definitely put this piece at the top. I like the way you can see the beautiful blue coming through the texture of the paper there. Right, so while this is drying, I think I will give the other side a little bit of loving and put some papers around this beautiful image. I'm really liking this piece here because you can see a little slither of a beautiful sculpture there, and the theme works really well with the Venetian bridge, and perhaps I could put that piece next to it and that could look really cool, maybe even down here. Yeah, I'm liking that plan. Just give it a little bit of tear. I might even create a shape so it goes across that way perhaps. So that is the Doge's palace that side, that's the jail that side, and the bridge that crosses from the sentencing to the jail is the Bridge of Sighs. It's called that because the prisoners would walk across, look out that window and sigh at the very last image they would see of Venice before entering the jail. I loved it. It was a fabulous tour. I learned so much about Venetian culture. It was just glorious. Now, how much of the bridge do I want to save and how much am I okay with covering? That's a tough question. We might even take it right up to the bridge like that. It comes down there. You see that second footbridge there, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, I'm liking that. Right, well, that looks absolutely fabulous. I love that I spotted that little beautiful sculpture in there. Now, I think I'm going to add some of this around this side because it's a similar pattern. I like the depth of the color. That'll work well for this edge. And then we just have to decide what's going to go up there. Do I want some more of this paper, or do I want to find some more of my beautiful Taperology paper? You don't know until you try something if you actually like that idea. And of course, if you don't, you can just change it. I'm liking the colors. I'm just not sure on the shape or how far I want it to come over on the page. Do I only want that bit? Do I want the whole bit? Oh man, so many decisions. I'm thinking something like that. So I added a piece of the beautiful textured paper up there because that top bit was bugging me. So what are we going to do? We might have to get some paint out and slap some paint around because, you know, they're looking very nice, but are we nice? Are we nice kind of people? I don't think so. We're experimental. We're throw it around and hope for the best type people. So now that it's all looking nice, I think we're going to need to mess it up. Now I promise I won't mess it up too much, just a little bit. I want to enhance that fabulous texture and those little dotty marks. And I've got both copper and bronze because I couldn't decide. So I'm just going to brush some on and maybe have a little bit of a spray, perhaps run it a little, and we'll see how that goes. It can only not work, right? Just wanted to add a little bit more warmth of the color, but I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. So I'm just going to touch it and dab it a little, knock out some of the circles. But that's pretty cool. I'm liking that. We might bring some of the copper dots down to this side over on this page. And that'll continue the line running down and your eye will follow it. Going to add a little touch up here of some bronze because, yeah, I kind of tore the paper. I got it stuck on something and pulled it. But it's pretty easy just to have a little fiddle with some paint. Just putting a bit of bronze over it because I'm getting carried away. And it looks so good. So that's just bringing that beautiful golden tone right down to the bottom. I really like that. Just going to add a little bit of spray to it. Oops, maybe not that much. Just to get a little bit of texture and a little bit of movement. And just running it off the page. Now, I'm going to have to let all of that dry and see what we think about that. Right, so what do you think? My pages have dried. Yay, I think it's looking beautiful. I love the sneaky little sculpture in that piece there. The Nat Geo paper looks amazing. I'm loving this texture up here, and the little copper stencil just adds a little warm tone to the pages. Now, I couldn't have this page the same as that page, so I had to get a little more dramatic. And I've put on a gold marble piece of paper over the top. Now remember what I said, if you don't like something, you can change it or fix it or add something else to it. I just thought it was too much the same as this page and I liked this combination better. So I put that piece over that and I'm much happier. I then put some white gossamer paper onto here because I just wanted to create a little bit more texture. I love that paper. That looks fabulous. It also connects with the white paper from over there, so I'm loving it. I think they sit really well together as a pair, but individually they're quite beautiful as well. So yay, that's number 3 and 4 of our second week of bridges. I'm loving these pages. And I just can't wait to see what you're going to create with this fabulous theme. Thanks for joining me. I really hope you enjoyed this episode. Don't forget, all the links will be in the description under the video. You'll find discount codes, more information, where to find the free digital collage paper. And I really hope you come back and join me again next time in the studio.